Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank all the people over on Patreon for all their support, because without their help, the upgraded content that you see on the channel, that you really see in the video essays and a few of the lore discussions would not be possible without their help. But over on the Patreon, you get sneak peeks of videos months in advance. Patrons also get priority on the Q&As. Every 3 months we do an anime and manga haul, and I give away a lot of good goodies in that. And it's also just really cool to talk to you guys in the DMs, and if some of you guys have theories that you want me to talk about on the channel, obviously I will talk about your theories. Just send them to me over on the Patreon. But with that being said, let's get into the review. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another review for Boruto Chapter 71. And now that Chapter 71 is done in the books, we actually got quite a bit to talk about, because in this chapter we gotta go ahead and get that spliff ready for Code. Dude, this man Code got beaten down in the most disrespectful way, but there's also some other developments with Amado and some situations with Ada, as well as with Konoha, and the big plot twist in regards to Kawaki. So I gotta say, first and foremost, I do think that this was a good chapter to end off on before we get a 1 month break for the Boruto manga. This will be the first break that the manga has had ever since it's been in V-Jump magazine. So jumping right into the chapter opens up exactly where the last one left off, where Code is about to swing down on Amado. Amado looks like he's pissing himself. Ada and Damon are watching, and this is when Bug just comes from around the corner, and Bug refers to Amado as being Sanzu Amado. It seems like there isn't a way out of this, and I have a video that is being edited by an editor right now, breaking down the mythology behind Amado's name and how that ties into what Amado previously said about his dead daughter. You want to keep notifications on, because that's going to be a huge video. Now at this point, this is where you have Amado being told by Code, goodbye Amado, and in this moment, before Code can actually kill Amado, Amado calls out to Ada, and he's just throwing a Hail Mary. He's like, hey, I got information about Kawaki. And at this point, Ada just kind of lifts her head for a second, and Code stops right away, because he realizes that Amado is trying to essentially appeal to Ada's best self-interest in order to try and get her help. And Ada then speaks up, and Ada says, what do you mean? What do you have to say about Kawaki? And that's when Amado tells her that Kawaki is my trump card, but right now it seems like Konoha has given up on me. Either that or the situations look like they're trying to get rid of me, which that's not the craziest thing that Shikamaru looks at it like a win-win situation. While they do end up having Code take his limiters off, if they get rid of Amado, he has one less person to actually worry about, because Shikamaru is very suspicious of Amado, and Shikamaru knows that there's something to do with Kawaki that Amado is hiding. So Amado is telling the truth here, and what Ada says is that I didn't hear anything about this. I'm not sure what you're talking about. And that's just another reminder that, like, Ada has been using her Senrigan, and Ada is well aware of what's going on in Konoha. And so this is Ada essentially trying to give Amado a little bit of a ish test right now, because she's trying to see if he's bluffing, and Code just flat out says it. He says that he's bluffing. He's just trying to stall for more time. But this is where we start seeing the betrayal come, because Ada had previously told Code, if you continue getting in my way, if you continue being a nuisance, if I deem you of being useless, Damon and myself will kill you. And what we see here is that she snaps at him and she says, I'm the one talking. You need to stop butting in. And that's essentially Ada giving Code one last warning. And when this man says you're being stupid and you're being tricked by this smooth talking dude Amado, he's just using you, that's when Ada gives this man a death glare, and she says, did you not just hear me? I told you to stop being a nuisance to me. And that's your sign right there that Ada's already made it up in her mind. Whatever intel Amado has, it better be good, because she's about to get rid of one of the knights on her chessboard. And what we see here is that Code is ignoring Ada's orders, and he says this because of his hit list for Ishiki, because he says, hey, this guy was one of the people who helped kill Ishiki. I need to take him out. This is gonna be different when it comes to killing Kawaki, because I can't kill him. I gotta give him to you. But this guy, he has no purpose. He has no reason to stay alive. And before Code can do anything, Ada just looks over at Damon. She says his name, and then that's when Damon just speed blitzes, gets behind Amado, and Damon has his hand over Code's mouth, and he's got his other hand holding Code's wrist to stop him from attacking. And this is where Damon's letting him know, like, yo, you're getting a little too confident right now. And when Code tries to swing his attack, the problem is that it ends up cutting Code, and that's when Code retreats, and that's when Damon jumps back into the air. And in this moment right here, Ada's already put two and two together, and she said, yo, you tried to kill my little brother of all people. And when Code appears on top of the ceiling from his claw marks, Damon is just calling him out. Yo, you little punk, you need to come down here. I'm about to give you the hands. And when Ada accuses Code of trying to kill her younger brother, Code's trying to walk it back, and he's trying to deflect by saying like, hey, Ada, you're the one who set me up. But Ada essentially says, like, if you're going to be a nuisance to me, I should have warned you. I'm going to have no choice but to actually dispose of you. But really and truly, when you look at it, that was already built into what she said previously, where she said that if I deem you to be useless, I'm going to get rid of you. The foreshadowing's been there ever since Ada first debuted. She was going to turn on Code, and we see that here because when Code tries to keep talking Ada down, that's when Amado realizes that now's the time for him to play his best hand, because he says like, yo, Ada's already been told by Konoha that she can come to Konoha to get closer to Kawaki, and there's a chance that she can actually win over Kawaki, so why would she continue working with you? And that's when we get into the deranged kanji right here, because the deranged kanji is implying that Amado's saying that if Ada keeps having sex with you, she's not going to be able to get her chance with Kawaki. That's again another sign that Masashi Kishimoto is the one writing. Getting back to it though, Ada is considering what Amado says, and Code is calling it out. He's like, look, Amado, you're trying to be smooth talking, you're trying to deceive Ada. And that's when Amado cuts him off, and he's like, deceive her? I'm just spitting facts right here, fam. And that's when Code tries to go towards Amado. He's got his claw mark wound back, and that's when Damon again speed blitzes Code, and Damon puts his hand on Code's shoulder. He calls him an idiot, and Code retreats right away. The whole time this is going on, Ada's leaning up against the bar watching the fight about to start. Amado's standing very still because Amado knows like, yo, if I move in the wrong way, I'm probably going to end up getting killed. And this is where we see the last warning for Code, because Damon says like, if you gotta stop because my sister says stop, you better do so, otherwise I'm going to have to destroy you. Now at this point, this is where things get a little funny, because Ada essentially tells Code like, I'm grateful to you, I've helped you regain your powers, but that part of the deal's over, I'm letting you go. And that's where we have this moment where Code says like, Ada, don't you need my power? And that's when Ada says like, I don't need you in the way that you think I do. And when Code confesses his love to her, Ada essentially shoots him down and says like, even if your feelings are true like you say they are, I'm done with you, I've had enough. And before Code can do anything, Damon speaks up, and Damon says, I don't care if it's an Osusuki, I don't care who it is that's standing in front of my sister, I'm gonna protect her. And Code makes the mistake of saying like, yo, you got more than one knight, but I'm the only knight that you need. And Damon takes that as a challenge. And as the fight begins to start, Ada calls Code somebody that's super unnecessary. And in this moment, as the fight is beginning to start, you have Bug essentially thinking to himself, looking at this as a win-win situation, because he knows the weakness to Damon's jutsu, and he's betting that Code is going to be stronger than Damon and be able to take him down. That's a huge part of his gamble right here. It's at that point that the scene shifts over, and you have Naruto and Sasuke, Kawaki and Shikamaru. They're doing their intel briefing. Naruto says, so it doesn't matter, they'll become her love slave. What do you mean by that? And Shikamaru warns him like, look, if we meet again, you're gonna meet this Ada person and you're gonna understand exactly what I mean. And Sasuke has no intel on who she is, and he directly asks the question, is she one of the surviving cyborgs? Which we as the audience know she is one of the cyborgs that Jigen ordered to be destroyed. This whole idea of, oh, Jigen was worried about her clairvoyance abilities and her enchantment abilities. Jigen's body was 100% Osusuki. Those abilities wouldn't have worked on her. And Shikamaru basically says, I don't have all of the details right now, but Amado talked about her some time ago. She's amongst the cyborgs who are supposed to be disposed of. There were several of them in existence, the ones whose power greatly surpass that of Jigen. And you have Kawaki essentially sitting there taking in all this information, not saying anything. So it looks like there's going to be something that goes on with Kawaki later, but Shikamaru basically says we need to operate on the assumption that she is one of them, and he says that she is Code's ally, but she's not the only one. Sasuke asks for more intel, and what I like about this is that you just see how Sasuke's kind of taking charge of the conversation, because it's one of those times where Sasuke doesn't waste time and he doesn't waste movements. He's constantly updating his stance as he gets new information, and we see that here because Shikamaru says in the last battle that happened last night, Kawaki drove Code into a corner. He was about to kill him, and there was someone who took the brunt of Kawaki's attack, and that person wasn't Ada. There's at least one other extreme cyborg out there, and that person is over there with them. So they have a clear idea of like, okay, there's Damon. And for people asking how come Naruto doesn't remember Damon, Naruto was in shock. He was hunched over his son, who he thought was dead, because he was actually dead at that point in time. So of course Naruto didn't actually see that. Now this is where we get the full-on battle with Damon and Code, and this is so disrespectful. If you are a Code fan, if you're on suicide watch, I totally understand, because when Code learns the weakness of Damon's attack from Bug, Code just goes straight towards Damon. He's trying to catch him off guard, and Damon just speed blitzes him, and he suddenly ends up in the air right above Code. And Damon said that, hey, I remember you said you won't lose to anyone or something like that. Didn't you say that? What a joke. And before Code can do anything, Damon just punches this man right into the ground. He's cracking the floor all around Code's body. Code's laying face down into the rubble. At this point, he realized that he can pray to those Sasuke all he wants, but they ain't coming down from hell to save him. And Damon at this point is just laughing, and that's when Damon just disrespects this man. He steps right on this man's back. Blood is spurting all out of Code's mouth, and Damon's smirking at this point, and Bug realizes I bet on the wrong person. And Damon then does another disrespectful thing. He starts staring down at Code, but all of a sudden Code isn't there, and it's because Code has gone into his claw marks, and Code is now right above Damon, and it's because Code has claw marks on the ceiling, and Code stretches out his claw mark to try and grab Damon. However, Damon in that moment shows extremely fast reflexes, because he spins around right there on the spot, and he kicks Code with his leg, and it knocks Code right in the side of this man's face. It sends him flying across the room into the wall. He's coughing up blood again, and when Code lands onto the ground, he does so with a extremely heavy thud. Damon lands away from him, and Ada's just watching the whole situation completely unfazed, because again, she said it. We will kill you if I deem you out of line. That's where Damon just says something very savage. I love this quote right here. He says, so how was that? It seems like you're stronger than Jigen. You're definitely stronger than that guy. You're absolutely stronger than the Hokage and that Uchiha. They stand no match to you, but that's it. There's nothing more. It doesn't matter if you're in second place. It doesn't matter if you're in third place, because I'm in first place. That man Damon, he ain't got black Air Forces. This man got some black Timberlands right now. He ready to start stomping on this man. Now, for the people who might be wondering why is Damon so strong, I have a video coming talking about all the car members. I already did one breaking down the hidden meaning behind their names, but I got a video talking about the car members, why they're so strong and why they're such a dangerous group that's about to be sent to an editor right now. But long story short, the nanotechnology that the car inner members use that augment their bodies on a cellular level is stolen technology that makes use out of the Hashirama cells. Again, the video's coming soon. I absolutely love it. Now, this 11 or 12-year-old kid, Damon, would absolutely dog walk Naruto and Sasuke. Now, the next thing that you see right here is that Damon looks at the floor as Code is going back into his claw marks, and he goes over to Bug, and Ada gives a stern warning, because Ada directly tells him, she says, you're running away now? Are you serious? Not that it matters to me. I won't pursue you relentlessly. That's fine as long as you don't become a nuisance to me. However, I'm going to tell you this right now. You should be aware of this, but I can see everything. And if you become a problem, if I think you're coming after Kawaki, I will kill you. So that's very important, because that's Ada directly telling him, I am stronger than you. I know people have this whole thing of, well, Ada says she's only good at basic taijutsu and she's not very good at it. You ain't gotta be very good at taijutsu if you got raw power that will walk up and blow somebody's head off. She directly said before, we siblings will kill you, implying Damon and myself either as a duo or individually would do so. We just saw Damon directly wreck Code, and Ada's making the same threat saying, I will kill you. Not Damon, I will kill you. And she's staring him down and she's got her Senrigan activated and she's letting Code know that she means business. And that's when Code has this moment where he's either about to be one of the worst villains in the series or he's about to get a Shigaraki moment where he says, I got a duty to fulfill. I inherited Ishiki's will. I have to follow it out. I got to cultivate a chakra fruit from this planet. I got to upgrade my body to Otsutsuki. Once I become an Otsutsuki, I won't fall under your enchantment anymore. The moment that happens, I'm either going to find out if I love you or if I want to kill you. And that's foreshadowing right there. I don't personally think that he's going to be able to take out Ada, but you know, we'll have to see. But I do like how the next thing that we end up seeing is that Damon then goes right after Code and he tries to get another kickoff, but Code has already gone into his claw mark. He's already dragged Bug into it, and Damon calls Code a psycho. And that's when Ada walks up to Amado and she says, you're very calculated, you're very smart, you managed to get through this situation very elegantly, but you also managed to break us up with Code. And that's when Amado kind of flips it over on her and says, you already planned on getting rid of Code, you just decided that'd be a good way to actually cut Code off. That's why you're being so pushy, because you were covering for me. And that's when Ada says, we're not a team, I'm just curious about the rest of your story, and if I think you're bluffing, I'm gonna kill you. Which we as readers know she hates Amado for what Amado did to her body. She has good reason to hate him, and that's when Damon's just grinning at him like, yo, if she says it, I'ma off you. And that's when we get the bombshell. Amado says that Kawaki's my trump card. I'm not bluffing about that. It's the absolute truth. I have a deactivation switch built into Kawaki, so we can end that whole conversation of, well, if you're an actual human modified by Amado, you don't have a cutoff switch. Amado confirms it. You still have ninja tech inside your body on a cellular level. So if Amado can shut it down, you're as good as dead right there. And I do like that you see that, and you have this moment where Ada warns him, like, Damon's itching to kill you. You need to tell me exactly what it is that you want with Kawaki, and you need to tell me exactly what your connection is. Otherwise, I'm going to end up killing you. And Amado explains that Kawaki regained his karma and he has all Ishiki's powers. His powers are going to continue to increase. And the problem is that we have Konoha and the Hokage to deal with. Currently, the situation is that nobody can stop him, but I have a way to shut down Kawaki with an emergency shutoff switch, but it's an exclusive command word that is limited to me. But I need to have this trump card with Kawaki so as to not endanger my position in the village. And Ada directly says the same thing that the Tsuchikage and Gaara told to Naruto and what Shikamaru has suspected, which is that you cannot trust Amado, because Ada says you're very good at stirring up drama and then taking the credit for it. And she directly asks Amado, why didn't you put something like that into Kawaki to begin with? And Amado reveals it. He says that Jigen wouldn't allow me to do it because it would be inconvenient for the vessel of Ishiki. That's when we find out a little bit more. Damon says, if you would have asked me back then, I would have just beat him to a pulp, just like Kawaki. So there's more history here with these characters. And what you also see is that Ada tells him, it's just as Damon says, if you have him, then you can deal with Kawaki's powers as long as you aren't dead. Then Konoha has no choice but to rely on us siblings. And Amado concedes that, like, you're right, that's an interesting option, but Kawaki's stopping feature is nothing more than insurance for me, because I need to maintain my position in the village, because my real goal is something else. And Ada says, like, that's all fine, that's good information, but you're not telling me everything I want to hear. Do you want to die here and now? And that's when Amado says it's a long story, but we need to discuss this inside of Konoha. We'll get all the details when we arrive in the village. And Amado tells her, you need to accept Shikamaru's offer to join Konoha. He put it like this: if you join Konoha, you can have that relationship with Kawaki. Isn't that something you want? Ada begins to start blushing. I thought that Ikimoto did a good job with Ada's panels right here. Nice expressions. And Amado says that he's going to arrange this sit down with Konoha. And the chapter ends off with Bug complaining about the fact that he's been drawn into this desert landscape, maybe in the land of Earth, or maybe somewhere over in the land of Wind, i.e. the area where the Sand Village is, but essentially Code says, despite everything that happened, I was trying to help you. You'd be better off with me than if you got left behind, because Damon would have killed him for blurting out the secret to his weakness. But Bug says, don't drag me into each and every little thing that you're doing. And really and truly, Code just brought him because he wants intel, but we don't know where they're heading. But Code says everything is Kawaki's fault. Everything that's happens because of him. Because of Kawaki, I wasn't able to become a legitimate vessel. Why is he the legitimate vessel? Why am I so useless? The same thing with Ada. Ada loves him and not me. Anything and everything, it all gets owned by Kawaki. And that's when Code says, he's always had everything that's ever been near and dear to me. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him with my own hands. I'm going to destroy everything that he loves and holds dear. I'm going to destroy them all. The Hokage, his friends, the village as well. And that's where the chapter ends off. So we're seeing a desperate Code right here. I mean, this was cool, man. This is cool. I know Code fans are probably on suicide watch, but I don't get the outrage. And the only reason for it is this was foreshadowed. How many times have I personally told you guys that Code, once he gets his limiters taken off, is probably going to get bodied? The only thing that didn't happen is he didn't get killed. So my chapter question to you guys is, what do you guys think Amado's true purpose is? And also, how do you feel about Code being bodied by Damon? But while you think those questions over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.